Were you going to college? Were you thinking at that time that real estate was just going to be a stepping stone and you're going to go to college to do something else? Or, was that just to develop more skills to help you in your real estate?
To be honest with you, man, it was a waste of time.
Yep.
I hate to say that to anyone listening to this. Obviously, you go to college, do whatever's best for you. My life was a little bit different. It was not for me. I went there honestly for maybe you can call it for your parents. Just it's the proper thing to do, which is like the status quo. You finish high school, you go to college. But I was making money. I was making more money than my teachers. I was, making phone calls between classes. If I had my notebook to this day here, all I would write down were notes of how much money I was making from closings every single day or what my to-do list was. And to this day, I still do to-do lists after 16 plus years. My assistant hates it. I just had a different mentality. I remember buying my first house and I rented it out to to an electrician, a general contractor, and a political science major. And the way my mind was thinking, I was like, okay, well, this guy could help me with my homework. So I had, a little bit of help here and there, and I'd give these guys bonuses on utilities or give them Wizards tickets or, whatever. But I always found a way to get ahead. It just wasn't my priority. I did criminal justice in school. I could have been maybe a business major, but it was never for me. I was never engaged into it. I graduated and I got maybe a 2.0. They probably said, you know what, give this guy whatever GPA, get him the hell out of here, But, of course I want that for other people, but it just didn't happen for me. I wasn't challenged. I wasn't pushed. I graduated with honors from high school, did really well. But, it's until recently in my life, I haven't been like pushed because I'm always the one pushing. No one's bringing it to me. Until recently I got married, I feel like I'm being pushed. You know what I mean? I finally met the woman who's going to go to war with me. It's life is funny how things work, but it's an inspiration. It's fun and enjoyable. And as long as you can smile and laugh and have a good time and not take everything so seriously, I think you can be very successful in what you do.
So I wanted to go out there and study the doers, right? So new agents coming on can listen from the doers like you. They're out there actually creating big, epic lives and careers and businesses. So with that being said, man, do you have any last words of maybe motivation, inspiration, or advice that you'd like to leave our listener base with so then they can go out there and create this amazing, epic life like you've been able to create for yourself?
Yeah, I think that a good way to start is sometimes if you like to write stuff down, write down the stuff that you don't like about life or business or whatever. Write down some of the good stuff that you like. Just kind of have that there. I think that if you're going to get into real estate, for example, I think you really should find the people that are out there like myself or people in your market that you can team up with. I really believe in the future of teams. I'm on the advisory board of Zillow, and we're talking about the future of building teams. And I'm part of the 7 agents that are working on the training seminar. And I think you have to align yourself with the right people, the right mindsets. I think that no one should just go work for someone just to work for someone. I think you got to find that equality, that passion, and not what are you going to do for me, but what can we do together attitude. I think that again, people shouldn't rush into things. I think that your name is everything, your reputation is everything, and I think really surround yourself with the best people that really care, and that have good ethics. It's not always about the money. I think that if you are good at what you do, you'll always make money. But if money is your driver, it's probably not the best business for you. We are in a very tough environment. I work my ass off to get here, and I'm still working. I've sacrificed everything in my life, from relationships to family to a lot of things and a lot of heartache. And it's not easy. And anyone that just sees the exterior and sees what it is today, they have no idea. And so many people want to own the team and not try out for it. And that's a failure. So wake up, work hard, have passion for life, and really be open-minded and listen. And, and again, some of the most successful people in the world know how to say no, So, some words of wisdom. I mean, I'm sure there's a million other things that we can talk about, but just go at it, go get it. And rely on yourself, and don't think that everyone's going to do things for you.
Yeah, I treat every individual like their own business, whether they work for a company or not. So let's talk about a business. It's exactly like a life. So we got Joshua here. Joshua has personally, with his family, 1 to 3 to 5 year goals. And then he may have a long-term vision. So key is know what that sprint is to those 1 and 3 year goals. And then that vision for Joshua is going to drive a lot of things. One, we're going to look at cash flow, which is the lifeblood of a business, right? Free cash flow, having your revenue be above what your operating expenses are and being able to get a good margin. Same thing in a family. What is your lifestyle budget and what kind of revenue or income are you bringing in? Same difference with a family. And then having a balance sheet of what all your assets are and what all your liabilities are. We call it a balance sheet in the business world. We call it a net worth statement in a person's life. And just like you probably in your business, if you have free cash flow, I'm assuming you do, Joshua, if you're making money and having an income, then it's how do I allocate this money on my balance sheet to serve what I said those 1-3 year goals were and those long-term vision was. So what can you do with that free cash flow if you have excess earnings in your business or in your life? Well, you can do a couple things. You can give it away, charity. You can reinvest it in the business. So like in your business, it might be reinvesting in new equipment, hiring an employee, marketing or whatever else. In your personal life, it would be reinvesting in your skills, in networking in your industry or starting a side business. It doesn't necessarily have to be investing in stocks and bonds and things like that. Reinvesting in the business is really reinvesting in you personally by doing the side hustle things and starting businesses like you're talking about. That's where that's going to be the engine of the growth. Or it could be paying down debt. It could be saving and protecting the assets on your balance sheet. So there's only so many things you can do. And it's working through that hierarchy is how you make good decisions. You have to figure out what you're trying to accomplish, but it's no different than running a business.
Yep. No, I love it, man. So, making additional revenue is key, right? We all want more revenue. We need more revenue. But what do you dive into when it comes to spending? Right? Because it just seems like this whole keeping up with the Joneses game is one of the most dangerous games people play. And it seems like a lot of people, it's not always the revenue, it's just they have a spending problem. So what are maybe some of the tactics that you teach on to have that awareness? Because a lot of people just have no idea how much they're truly out there spending and wasting.
Right. And same thing with a business. And we see that in businesses all the time where they get in love with being a business and then they buy the nice office and all the nice furniture and they like the trappings of the business rather than the actual business. And it's the same thing in life. And managing your cash flow is extremely important. Now, I'm a financial guy and I hate budgeting. I do not keep a budget, which is like sacrilege, right? I'm supposed to be in Mint or Quicken or something, keeping a budget, but I just hate budgeting because I hate being a bookkeeper of my own life. I got enough numbers to deal with. And whether I overspend in the entertainment category or my wife overspends in groceries or I overspend in groceries, I don't care. That just sets up really rough conversations. But what's the point of budgeting? The point of budgeting or managing your lifestyle is to capture that excess income, right? And not let it get flitted away to your lifestyle. So what I recommend that people do, and this is getting to your point of how do you control your lifestyle? One is some people just won't. So I have a buddy who is very wealthy and he realized long ago he can't stop spending. So he just had to bust his butt to make sure he made a lot of money. I guess that's one approach to it. But so what I do is I have all of my income from whatever income sources I have go into an income account. And then I have a whole separate account, which is my spending account. And my wife and I decided long ago, it takes X amount to run our household. I have 2 kids, so it takes X amount to run our household. Let's just say it's $10,000. So all of our income comes into our income account. It doesn't go into an account that we ever spend out of. And then once a month, we transfer over our lifestyle budget to our spending account. And we spend that down to almost zero. And then my excess earnings builds up in that spending account. And then every 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, depending on how greatly it builds up. As that builds up, we decide what we're going to do with all that excess income in that spending account. That allows me to control my spending because I only have $10,000 in a month in this example. So people generally, assuming they don't use credit cards, will moderate their spending to what they show in their bank account. right? So we always feel a little bit poor towards the end of the month. So we sort of curtail some of that discretionary stuff. But the problem is a lot of people have their income coming into their account and then they look up and they're like, where'd it go? And well, it went someplace because you knew it was there. So you try to not let people know that it's there. So that's what I do. It's just the easy way of getting around having to be a bookkeeper.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of percentages that you follow of, hey, your personal operating expenses should be X% of your gross income or below that to make sure that you're not getting above your means?
I don't. But I think the earlier you start some type of method where you say anything above this, I'm not spending, because this is what's happened with us. Because, I mean, I've had some very hard financial times earlier in my career because I was spending, when I was in the 90s, because it was great tech stocks, I was spending money on my future growth because, hey, man, my income's going up, by X% a year. Well, that means I can spend into that. Because, gee, it can never go down. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can go down by a lot. I found that out. And so I put my family in a situation where I was spending, assuming that we were going to make the same kind of cash flow, and almost blew us up. I mean, we sold our house, bought a house for, about a third or half of what the other house was, and really had to redesign our lives because our spending went down when I was making a transition in business. That's what you have to avoid. I don't use ratios, but once you cap it on that spending account, what's happened with us is right now I'm saving about 40% of our income. And it's only because I've never let my lifestyle creep as we've had business success. I mean, a little bit here and there, but nothing extraordinary. What ends up happening is most people, because their income comes into their spending account, they don't even capture it anywhere else.
So with that being said, do you have any last maybe words of motivation, inspiration that you'd like to leave our listeners with so they can go out there and create that great life for themselves?
Well, I think it's our life to do what we want with, right? It's supposed to be great. It's just up to us. Probably the best piece of advice when I hired that professional coach and I'd come to him with an idea. The one thing that he made me realize was, you know what, if you're going to execute that idea, it doesn't take much more effort just to go big with it. If you're going to do 90% of the work to make it an okay idea, just do the extra 10% to make it huge.
Yep.
And it's true if you think about it. If you're already running, it doesn't take that much effort just to run a little harder and make it big. We tend to think that we're supposed to be called by somebody else, and it doesn't work that way. I mean, everything I've done, I'm not a genius, that's for sure. I just never stopped and kept trying to do it bigger and bigger. So it's not that difficult. It's just a matter of whether you believe in yourself and you realize that you're not going to figure it out, so you just need to do it and iterate a lot.